What's up, guys? My name is Kailyn Julianna, and I'm here to give you my top 7 tips for budget-friendly, healthy eating. Now, I know a lot of people struggle when it comes to eating healthy. It can be really overwhelming and challenging and intimidating. I understand what it's like to have a limited budget and also be passionate about my health and care about my body. It's really important to me to be able to fuel my body with all of the nutrients it needs to function optimally, because it affects not only me, but the people around me, the people I care about. It affects the work that I do, it affects my interactions with people, if I am physically operating to my fullest capacity. My first tip is don't shop when you're hungry. Have you ever been grocery shopping and you're starving, so everything looks delicious and you end up spending way too much money because you just want to buy everything? I've definitely been there, and it was definitely, in hindsight, not a good decision. So I recommend making sure you have some water, stay hydrated, and some snacks with you so that you can avoid splurging on unnecessary things because you just feel like it in the moment. Number 2, make a list and be super specific. I'm definitely guilty of going shopping without a plan. Oftentimes that can make you buy things you don't really need, or too much or too little. It can cause you to end up spending more money in the long run because you waste ingredients that you don't end up using because you didn't really go in with a plan. So I recommend before you go grocery shopping, take a look at some of the recipes you want to try during the week, take a look at the food you do have, and think about some general meals that you could make and what ingredients you specifically need. And maybe you can give yourself a little leeway by saying like, oh, if I see something while I'm there that I forgot to put on the list, I'll give myself like 3 items that are like wild cards. Like, I don't need to have them on the list before I buy them. But don't get too crazy because, I mean, this is called eating healthy on a budget after all. I also like writing things down and grouping them together according to the type of food that it is. So proteins, veggies, sauces, just general groups of foods so that it can help you kind of keep your mind straight. Like I need chicken, fish, and then I need olive oil, avocados. It just keeps everything kind of straightforward in your mind when you think about the different types of foods that you're gonna need. Number 3, keep it simple. Stick to real whole foods and try to avoid the more processed, packaged foods. I think sometimes people are surprised when they realize that eating healthy can actually be really cost effective if you just keep it simple and keep it to the basics. Protein, fat, carbs. A lot of my meals are very simple, just chicken, broccoli, some olive oil, butter. Focus on just eating the natural whole foods that grow out of the ground or come from an animal. And remember that the extras like supplements, superfoods, adaptogens, those are all amazing and I love them, but also remember they're not essential to survival. So in times where my budget for the month is more strict, I take an honest look at what I can and can't afford, and those things are kind of like an extra add-on, like a luxury item. But first of all, I think about, well, what do I really need? What kind of foods should I really be putting in my body first? And once I have all the basics covered, then if I have extra money, I will indulge in some superfoods, some fancy powders, stuff like that. I really enjoy those things, and it's important to me to be able to have them as part of my diet. But I also remember that if my budget is tight for a certain month, I don't need to worry about it because food is where you get this stuff from in the first place. Number 4, mix it up. So you don't have to always get your groceries from the same places. For example, I really like to get a lot of stuff from Trader Joe's because it is really cost effective and has a lot of things that I enjoy eating. And then for specialty items, gluten-free stuff, things that I can't find elsewhere as easily, I'll go to Whole Foods, but only keep it to a minimum number of items because, I mean, you know, it's Whole Foods. And then my favorite way to shop is locally at farmers markets. So whenever I can, I try to get the bulk of my vegetables and produce from a local farmer's market because it's such a great sustainable way to eat and support the community of farmers around you, and it's really, really good and good for you to eat seasonally and locally. Number 5, stick to the perimeter of the store. You may or may not have noticed that usually around the edges of the store, that's where all of the produce is, the meat, the good stuff, and then in the middle of the store is where they put all of the cookies, soda, junk food, stuff like that. That's really not gonna serve you well, and it's not gonna serve your budget well because $5 bags of chips add up fast. So I recommend that unless you know exactly what you're getting in a certain aisle, I would just stick to the perimeter of the store and focus on the natural, healthy stuff that they keep on the edges. Number 6 is track yourself. So when I go into the store, I like to set a timer and challenge myself to see how fast I can get in and out. And also, especially if I'm having a tight month, I like to keep my calculator handy on my phone, and I'll just add up stuff as I put it in my cart, so that way I'm not surprised when I get to the register. That way I kind of know how much I should get of each food based on how much I have budgeted for groceries that month. Setting a timer also forces you to make quick decisions and be efficient with your time. Number 7 is don't overwhelm yourself with meal prepping. Now this is a classic struggle for people who want to eat healthy, myself included, is planning, and that can make or break your decision to have a healthy lifestyle, is whether or not you plan. I know sometimes, depending on people's schedules, they can get overwhelmed by the thought of spending like 3 hours on a Sunday meal prepping. It really doesn't have to be that complicated. My recommendation would be to just keep it simple and keep it small and think ahead, but like in smaller batches. So for me, whenever I'm making food for myself, I'll make extra, I'll double it, and that way I'll have leftovers for later, but I don't necessarily have to spend a ton of extra time because I'm already making food. I like to prep one recipe at a time and just make a lot of it so that I have more for later. For example, if I need chicken for a recipe, I will make all of the chicken that I bought and I'll put the rest in the fridge or in the freezer and save it for later for other meals. That way I have an easy, quick protein that I can just pop into a different meal whenever I need it. The same goes for veggies. When you come home from buying groceries, it's really helpful to set yourself up for success by cutting, storing, prepping vegetables, making sure it's really accessible, that you don't feel overwhelmed when you look in your fridge and there's just like vegetables flying out at you. But instead you have nicely sliced and diced and prepped veggies that you can easily grab for a snack. You can easily toss into a pan and saute or whatever you want to do with them. And you don't have to, spend 30 minutes chopping stuff, which is really nice too. So what do you guys think? I want to know what struggles you've had with eating healthy, with grocery shopping, with any of this stuff. If anything you heard in this video stood out to you, if you felt inspired, hopefully, to live a more healthy life, because that's my goal and that's what I want for you. I want to know how I can best serve you. I'm super excited about this channel. I encourage you to like this video if you did in fact like it, and subscribe to follow along for more content coming your way soon. This channel will be focused on healthy living, wellness, photography, stuff like that, my life, anything you guys want to know. Thank you so much again for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'm so excited to see where this journey is gonna go. You're awesome. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, see you later.